Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of our Thinking Talks. My name is Sara Pini, I'm Senior Research Officer here at the Martens Center, and I'm very pleased to introduce our guest today, Michel Barnier. You surely all remember him as the EU Chief Negotiator on Brexit and then head of the UK Task Force, an experience on which he wrote My Secret Brexit Diary, a book in which you can find all the behind the scenes. But prior to that, Mr. Barnier already had a long and rich political career at all levels, from local to national to European. He was, among else, a member of the French Parliament for 17 years, several time minister, twice commissioner, and also briefly a member of the European Parliament. And most recently, he became a member of the Martens Center Academic Council. So thanks, Mr. Barnier, for joining us.
Hello, thanks for your invitation, and thanks to all the people following the works of the Martens Center.
So, as I said, everyone knows you as the EU Chief Negotiator on Brexit. Someone also called you Mr. Brexit. But I think that the most important and I think also most rewarding part of your job was negotiating the relation between the UK and the EU after Brexit. And then still today, you're always invited in British media or academic debates. You were recently in Oxford and in Cambridge to speak about the issues. So I think you're very expert on both sides. So could you tell us what is your assessment of the current state of relationship between UK and the EU?
They are improving, thanks to the new attitude of the Prime Minister of UK, Mr. Sunak, who is much more reasonable, much less baroque than his predecessor, Mr. Johnson. In fact, we lost several years after the Brexit, after the end of the negotiation, to implement, to operationalize the treaty we have negotiated, signed together, to organize a divorce, if I may say. The Brexit remained a divorce, remained a lose-lose game. It was negative and painful, costly, and once again, it's a lose-lose game for both sides. But we try to organize in the best way as possible this divorce. And now what I see it is a good willing of the new Prime Minister to respect the Brexit, to respect our condition. Brexit is Brexit. You can have a foot inside and a foot outside of the EU and the single market. It must be clear for the UK, but we are ready to improve our relations because we need to have good relations with a great country as the UK. We have so many challenges to face together, and we will face the challenges in a better way together than on each side of the channel. We have to face the climate change. We have to face the terrorism. We have to face the poverty in Africa. We have to face so many challenges about the independence of our economy vis-à-vis the financial services or the big companies and in internet. So I think if we wish, we can create a framework to work together despite the fact that the UK is now outside of the single market and the EU.
So you said that things have improved, but at the same time, it's clear that we are far away from the bright future that Brexiter had promised UK citizens. Some observers point out to interest rates, for example, that are higher than in the Eurozone, looming recession, fraught political situation, although, as you rightly said, it has improved with Prime Minister Sunak. So what do you think, how much do you think Brexit impacted in this situation, and what are the other factors at play?
It was impossible to have a brighter future with the Brexit. The Brexit has been built on lie, on an illusion. The illusion that we are stronger alone. It's not true. We can be stronger alone in the global world where we are and where we are facing so many challenges. So Brexit is done. We have regretted this vote, but we have respected this vote, and now the UK is alone outside of the EU. To be frank, nobody can be happy with the difficulty of a friend or neighbor. Nobody. The same for us. And nobody can give any lessons to the others. So we are not happy when we see a friend, a neighbor, a partner in so many difficulties. Number two, I think that all these difficulties in UK currently are not linked to the Brexit. There are many other reasons linked to the mistakes of the Tory government, of specific reasons or conditions in the UK, but all the current difficulties are not linked to the Brexit. Number three, all these difficulties are more serious because of the Brexit, because the UK is outside the single market. And once again, I think that the Brexit is a nonsense, and nobody, even Mr. Farage, nobody has been able to give me any proof of any added value of the Brexit for the moment.
As you said, we cannot give lessons. Every country has its problem. Your country also has some deep issues right now. I'm not going to dwell on it because unfortunately it's all over the news. What is your assessment of the situation, and most importantly, what is the way out?
The situation in France is very serious. And what is at stake is the unity of the country, the unity of the society, the protection of the Republic also. We have so many forces, political forces, on the extreme right, one side, and the extreme left, and the other side, which want to destroy the Republic, which are extremists. So we have to be careful. We have to be united, and we have to draw the lessons. What happens not only in the suburbs with the recent violences, but also in the rural areas, as we saw a few years ago with Gilets jaunes. So the French society is very fragile. My country is too centralized, and you cannot decide and manage every problem from the top. You have to involve, to include in the solution the local authorities, the trade unions, the parliament, the churches. So I think we need, drawing the lessons, to have a more collective management of our country. And I hope that the government will listen what is proposed by the opposition, in particular by my party, about the migrations or about the authority of the state.
Thanks. And coming back to what you were saying before about the challenges, the common challenges that we are facing as Europe, migration, climate change, terrorism, I said the war in Ukraine, of course, and that they required increased cooperation, and they also required a strong political leadership. France has always played this kind of role of leadership. Do you think, what is your vision for the future of France now?
My country has been one of the founding countries of the EU at the very beginning, with Jean Monnet, Robert Schuman in 1950 and for the Treaty of Rome. But now we are 27, unfortunately no longer 28. I think that each and every country, the largest, Germany, the smallest, each and every country has an added value and must be respected by the others. It was my line during the negotiation, and the reason of the unity of the 27 during the Brexit negotiation was that I always respected each and every country. What we can look at when you look at the last 15 years, we faced at least 5 crises, huge crises. The financial crisis, which destroyed millions of jobs, the migration crisis linked to the war in Syria or Iraq, the Brexit crisis, the COVID crisis, and finally, recently, the war in Ukraine, plus a permanent crisis, perhaps the more serious one, is the climate change. And for each of these crises, we have been united finally. We have drawn the lessons. We have taken huge and important new decisions together. And I think we are stronger. So I think that looking at what could happen in the global world where we are, I think we are stronger now than 15 years ago.
It's a good note to end with. So last question, because another one of the many functions I forgot to mention, you're special advisor to the president of Les Républicains, the EPP member party in France, especially on European and international issues. How do you see the situation of Les Républicains? How do you think they can get in touch with people again and overcome their current difficulties?
We are in a very weak situation since the presidential election, the general election. So we have to regain, we have to rebuild, we have to speak with the people, all the people in France, and to regain their trust. So I think it's possible, and I think it's necessary to do that, because the only way to avoid an adventure or the risk of the extreme right winning in the elections in the future is to rebuild a political proposal, a new proposal, through a new force of the Republican right and the center right. So we have to take our part and to play our role in the rebuilding of this force of center right. And it is the reason why I'm still in this party, and with the support of the EPP at the European level, I think we have this role to play.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barnier. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this precious insight. And to all of you, thank you very much for watching us. If you want to know more about our Thinking Talks interviews or the other activities of the Martens Center, you can visit our website or check out our social media platforms. Thank you again, and see you next time.